the Building Your Brand podcast. I am currently doing a series of solo episodes over the summer. If you're a long-time listener, you'll know that I usually interview guests, and those sorts of episodes will be back at the end of September. But for now, you've just got me chatting about whatever topic I feel like, or not totally just what I want to talk about. I have polled my audience and asked for suggestions, which was really helpful. But today, I am going to be talking about why I love creative and personal challenges. And when I say challenges, I don't mean like tough things. I mean like challenges that I set myself, personal projects that I set myself. And I don't think I realized when I was doing each of them, the impact that they would have on my business, but each of them has had a really profound impact on my business and in a really positive and beneficial way. And so I kind of wanted to talk about them, share about them, and hopefully hearing my experience will inspire you to maybe set yourself a challenge, set yourself a personal creative project and see where it takes you. So if you're a long-time listener of the podcast, you will have probably heard me talk about most of these. I have these like little pet topics that often come up in my interview episodes over and over again. But yeah, hopefully you'll find this interesting, even if you have heard me talk about it before. So I think one of my first experiences of doing a creative challenge was with Hannah, and we did 30 days of reels. So we set ourselves a challenge to make a reel every day over 30 days and see what happened. And what was so funny to me with this challenge is that I was really convinced that I was going to go viral. Like one of those reels was going to go viral. Well, I guess that's what I hoped. It was going to like transform my business. I mean, it was a naive hope. And I'm not even sure that that's what I would want now, but it was really funny how that's what I thought would happen. And then I got to the end of the challenge and none of my videos had gone viral. But what was really interesting to me reflecting on it was I had basically sped up my learning process. So before we did the challenge, and this was a couple of years ago now, I was still really stuck in my head thinking about static content for Instagram. So my head would think in terms of images and carousels. Like I didn't naturally gravitate towards video as my sort of usual format for making content. So setting myself this challenge really got my brain thinking in that way. And it was honestly so helpful because now I find making videos for social media so much easier. And actually my brain sort of goes there quicker now, probably more so, like I can't even remember the last time I posted just a static post. It was either a carousel or a reel. The other thing that I realized was that it just sped up how I improved making video, like how quickly I improved, I guess I should say. So, if I had been making 1 or 2 reels a week, it would have taken me like so much longer to have got to the point that I was by the end of the challenge, in terms of like lessons I learned, the type of content that I like making. We definitely saw it as very experimental. We were just trying lots of different things, seeing what we enjoyed, seeing what landed and all that sort of stuff. So as I mentioned, I didn't go viral, but what was really interesting to me, so I think we did this challenge in November and then I went viral in January. So it did end up happening, just not within the challenge, but I genuinely think that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't had that intensive period of making videos and getting better at making videos. So that was really interesting. I think the other thing that I love about a challenge is the sort of consistency and the discipline that goes into it. So I definitely had to plan ahead. I had to batch create a bunch of videos. I had to make videos before the month started to make sure that I could keep it up and that I could achieve the challenge. I could complete the challenge, I should say. And that was like a really helpful process for me. I think, 30 days of doing a video every day is doable. I don't think I could keep that up sustainably long term. So yeah, it was really fun to just sort of see what happened during that month. I actually did this really funny reel. I should try and find it at the end, where I did this sort of slightly depressing voiceover where I was like, I've just done a 30-day reel challenge and nothing happened. It was that sort of thing. And that video actually it didn't go viral, but it ended up doing really well because I think people just like love the honesty of like, I did this challenge, nothing happened. Because most people it's like, I did this challenge and then I went viral and now my life has changed and I'm, living on a tropical islands. Okay, maybe that's a bit extreme, but that kind of thing. So that was one of the first ones. Another one I did was a pattern challenge, and I did this in collaboration with a friend of mine, Ocean, and we were inspired by Melanie Johnson, who does regular pattern challenges, and honestly, they're so good. So they're usually over a month. It's either posting a pattern every day or every other day, but we just loved it so much that we wanted to keep it going. So we asked Melanie's permission, and we basically did a year-long pattern challenge where we did one a week, because obviously we needed it to be something that was sustainable for both of us. And I just found that so helpful because it just helped me play and it helped me be creative, you know, like in ways that I wasn't just doing for client work. So I always knew that each week I was going to put aside a bit of time to just draw something. So we'd have prompts and stuff, but I could kind of do whatever I wanted. And it was really, really nice. Sometimes I was like really pushed on time. So I would really limit myself time-wise, you know, be like, okay, well, let's just see what I can make in 10 minutes. And I would document it. I started off just sharing the patterns and the mock-ups. And then we did it for a second year. And in that year, after having done my real challenge, I decided that I would share a video for each one of them. And that was actually really, really fun. And that was one of the videos that did the video that went viral in the January, was where I was sharing the process of making a video. And I just really enjoyed sharing the patterns in that format. I do think that sometimes just, you know, trying something different, trying a different format, setting yourself a different restriction is really helpful for creativity. I definitely find restriction, I don't know if restriction is the right word, but you know, like setting yourself those parameters. So maybe it's like limiting a color palette, limiting yourself with a format, limiting the amount of time you have. Like I work really well with those sorts of limitations. So I think that was really helpful, trying to share those patterns in a different format. That pattern challenge, so we ended up doing it for 2 years with a little break in between, and I really, really loved it. I ended up doing a creative mornings talk about that challenge. So yeah, cool things came out of that. It was so fun seeing what everybody else created, like people joining in with us. It was, you know, like it was a really fun way of making content. It aligned with my brand values, if you listen to the value episode. So that was a really cool challenge. I think probably the challenge that I'm most well known for is the rejection challenge. So if you haven't heard the story, this is where I basically went out actively pursuing rejection and trying to get 100 rejections in 6 months. I failed the challenge because I didn't get 100 rejections in 6 months because people kept saying yes to me. But if you want to hear more about that specifically, I will link a couple of episodes where I talk about it in more detail. And I will actually do one of these solo episodes, which is an update on where I'm at with the rejection challenge, because I'm still doing it. I think I'm about 3 years on at this point. I'm still trying to collect rejections. I'm still trying to get to 100. I have learned so much from the process, and that one has had probably the biggest impact on my business. So things like I ended up being on Chris Do's podcast to talk about it. I ended up doing a closing keynote at a conference about it. I've done various workshops in people's memberships. Had so many podcast interviews off the back of that challenge. It was just such a great thing to talk about. And in the solo episode I did all about personal branding, I talked about that, how it's really helpful to have something like this that's almost like separate from what you do day to day. So, like my day to day is branding and designing branding, but having something like this that is like adjacent to what I do and it links to what I do, but it's just a much more compelling story than let me tell you why visual branding is so important. So that's been incredible. So yeah, that's the sort of biggest challenge that I've done and the sort of more ongoing one. Another one that I did, which I really enjoyed as well, was I decided in the lead up to my 40th birthday that I would share 40 lessons that I have learned in 40 years. So again, often short on time, so some of them had to be really quick. I used it as an opportunity to experiment and play and try different formats. So after saying that I never post static images anymore, some of those were static images, some of them were carousels, some of them were reels. It was just like a bit of a injection of play into my content again. It was like a different way of doing things. And they didn't perform incredibly well in terms of views and engagement, but I had so many people message me about them, about how much they were enjoying the series and what they were getting out of it. So that was really cool. I ended up talking about that project in my talk at Adobe Max London on the stage in front of like 750 people. So, all of these challenges often lead into other things, and I get an opportunity to talk about them because they inspire me. And they sort of like feed into other things that I'm working on. So that was really cool. And I'm definitely going to do something with all of that content that I created. I've got lots of ideas of ways that I want to repurpose the artwork that I created, the lessons, like I want to expand on them. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for what that might turn into. But yeah, I feel like I need to think what my next creative challenge is going to be. Me and Hannah Eisted, who is a regular on this podcast, we are often like, oh, should we do a challenge about this? Oh, should we do a challenge about that? I've thought about doing a LinkedIn challenge because I'm absolutely useless at LinkedIn. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what my next challenge is going to be, but I have found doing them so beneficial to my business. I find that it really gives me a boost creatively, and also, as I've mentioned, like leads to lots of other opportunities because people enjoy following along and seeing how the challenge is going and finding out what I learn from the challenge as well. I mean, I think they enjoy it. That's what people tell me. Some people, a few people have told me. So yeah, anyway, if you've got any ideas of what you think my next creative challenge should be, I would love to hear from you. You can find me at Liz M. Mosley or at Building Your Brand Podcast. And I'd also love to hear what you think of these solo episodes as well. Yeah, I've still got 6 episodes to go. So if you've got a topic that you are like, I would love to hear Liz's opinion on this topic, drop me a DM and let me know. I would love to hear from you. And I hope you are enjoying my summer solo series.